So what are the papers saying? I have the Ghanaian Times.
Yeah.
I am committed to building a better Ghana. Mahama reflects on December 7 polls. Also, Vice President calls on African leaders to strengthen health systems. Ghana, Burkina Faso resolved to strengthen bilateral cooperation. And Interior Minister orders probe into alleged assassination attempt of OSP. Meanwhile, this vacancy declared in Parliament following court-ordered Bandai run is also on the front page of the Times.
Yeah.
Daily Graphic this morning. They also have Interior Minister orders probe into SP assassination claim, and a portable lab unveiled for basic schools, unveiled by President Mahama. And then Nkrumah returns, second coming rocks the African festival from December 28 to December 30.
The Chronicle leads with Naimos. Galamsey fight suffers major setbacks. Logistical constraints, interference by chiefs and politicians cited. There's Lieutenant Colonel Joshua Satekla, who's the Naimos Deputy DG or D of Operations, speaking. Also, MIF accuses some former board members of orchestrating a smear campaign. And then Osu Apostolic Church marks 75 years of faith and service. There's a massive cake being cut on the front page.
Nice one.
And the Daily Guide front page, hugely written, "Give me power, I'll give you jobs." Kennedy Japan making that statement there. And then court dismisses Wontimi's further document request. And minority TUC reject utility tariff hike. They also have a story saying ministry probes SP assassination claims, and 5 have been arrested for robbery.
The Daybreak, NSS soldiers, and the soldiers is in quotation marks, in limbo as Ghana Armed Forces opens 25-26 recruitment. There's a photo of the NSA, actually NSS boss, but they said NSA, and then the Deputy Minister for Defense. Also, chiefs, influential figures hampering anti-Galamsey efforts. This is Naimos. Finance Minister tasked MDS to reduce audit infractions, and smear campaign against MIF and CEO exposed.
I think it's NSA because it's an authority now, not a secretariat.
An authority now.
Everybody has authority
I
powers.
tell you.
We hear.
Let me now take you to the Insight newspaper and front page. Kufuor blames NPP's 2024 defeat on DDEP, National Cathedral PDS, but General Secretary cites member neglect, breakdown in communication strategy. And 14 arrested over foiled Benin coup. And they also have the story where Kennedy Japan is saying, "Give me power and I'll give you jobs."
The New Republic, ghost contractor vanishes with $29 million. Government scrambles to recover loot as Tamale Walewale Road lies in ruins. Abuja reveals. This is a very interesting one. This road is really in a bad shape. Apparently some money was paid to the contractor, and based on some misunderstanding or whatever, he's gone and we have not been given any job. Other stories, ex-NASFCO boss fights Yoko over frozen fortunes. Photo of Hanan on the front page of the New Republic. Baumia Zongo disconnect deepens post-election autopsy. That's on page 5. And Sahel jihadist targets Ghana's gold mines. Porous border, illicit cash flow, raise alarm.
The overseer, Finance Minister, charges Osu Tax Office staff to boost revenue, pledges support and incentive. That story will be on page 3. And then interference by chiefs, politicians, undermining Galamsey fight. That is coming in from Naimos. And Parliament notifies EC over vacant Bandai seat following court rerun order. And smear campaign against MIIF CEO exposed.
All right, Caleb,
Yes.
online.
Let me take you online, and there's something interesting I'm observing. If you go to ChannelOneNewsOnline.com, a lot of interviews from Point of View last night, most of it asking for the protection of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So Ace Ankuma, for example, says, let OSP grow, white-collar crime needs skill, pass legislation to regulate bail conditions, Ace Ankuma to Parliament. And then Professor Henry Kwesi Prempeh says, constitutional solution needed to resolve OSP controversies. Now, if you go to Nigeria Online, Office of Special Prosecutor has failed. Sam Okujetu tears into Ghana's anti-corruption model, and then he also says scrap it. He is speaking of the same situation. Corruption is still everywhere. Sam Okujetu says OSP missed its mission, and Mary Ada says that Office of the Special Prosecutor was flawed from day one. And then Cecilia Dapa Ofuriata cases entrenched distrust in OSP. So those are some of the...
So Ghana's elite are fighting.
Exactly.
Some want OSP to stay. Some
Others want it to be scrapped. Yes. If you move to other stories on ChannelOneNewsOnline.com still, tariff hikes necessary to sustain utilities. This is the Energy Ministry.
Okay.
University of Ghana sets up committee to probe 6 unaccredited learning centers. Parliament declares Pandai seat vacant that you heard earlier. Suspend tariff hikes now, organized labor to government. Now, if you go to citynewsroom.com, OSP will disappear without constitutional reform. This is Professor Kwesi Prempe. Now, Ghana is a talk show country. This is Bokpin. He's not too happy. Nana Komia says, I didn't sell a single foot of STC land. You heard his voice earlier on the news this morning. Baumia will outperform his 2023 NPP primaries showing. This is Nana Komia still. And President Mahama will receive the Boku mediation report on December 11. So more stories on citynewsroom.com if you visit that website now. If you go to the High Street Journal, it leads with a call for financial infractions to be cut or face specialized courts. This is to forcing to audit heads and chief directors.
Yeah.
So cut financial infractions or face specialized courts. That's the warning now. Developers flee poorly maintained roads. Dental housing market surface.
Oh, Charlie.
T-bills record hit second. T-bills record hit second conservative overflow. Records 38%. Records 38% oversubscription, but at expense of high rates. But
I wanted to touch on a very interesting headline. On citynewsroom.com, I am under pressure to secure jobs for grassroots. You read it in the news this morning. Ashanti Regional NDC chairman. And I think we need to really talk about this, that people who belong to political parties feel entitled to jobs when a government comes to power as of first right, you know. And then Imani files RTI request seeking full disclosure on a SIM registration plan. So there's a convoluted debate between Samuel Nate George and Bright Simmons on Twitter and basically social media around the intention to re-register people's SIMs. So Imani has filed an RTI request seeking full disclosure on the matter. And as you read, TUC says the tariff hikes are unjustifiable and disrespectful. Now, there's so many things. I think we should do a quick draft on the OSP.
Yes.
Okay.
The stories are mostly online. So, for example, Ezankoma said that white-collar crimes are very difficult to handle. And 8 years or 7 years is very short time in the life of an OSP for people to start saying it hasn't performed.
True.
And his point is that we have had Attorney General for many, many years. Nobody has dissolved it because they haven't finished fighting corruption. So why are you trying to close down OSP?
And then he even called for scientific data to prove
that OSP hasn't saved Ghana any money. He also says that if OSP is abusing bail conditions, pass legislation to regulate it and don't remove OSP because of this. Although Professor Prempe is also saying that a constitutional solution may be needed to resolve the OSP controversy because of the way people perceive the OSP. As you said, other websites have different versions. So, for example, Mary Ada says that the office was flawed from day one. And then Sam Okudze Totu is saying that the OSP has achieved nothing. We don't know what evidence he has, but he's also it's a free country, so everybody can say anything they want. In the meantime, the graphic itself has a story on that. In the meantime,
the graphic has a story on that, and it's about the Interior Minister ordering probe into SP assassination claim. The Ministry of the Interior has ordered a full-scale investigation into claims of assassination attempt on a Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabeng. The ministry said its initial contact with Mr. Ejabeng revealed that the assassination attempt on him happened before this year. However, records of the assassination attempt did not exist. He stressed that since crime did not expire, the issue must be revisited and addressed as required by law. That is coming in from the Interior Ministry.
Right. When all is said and done, people are looking for jobs and their leaders are feeling the heat. I'm under pressure to secure jobs for grassroots. Ashanti Regional NDC Chairman Hafiz Tijani writes on citynewsroom.com. Ashanti Regional leadership of the National Democratic Congress NDC has acknowledged mounting pressure to secure jobs for grassroots members in the region. Regional Chairman of the party, Augustus Nana Kwesi Andrews, however, urged calm among supporters amid concerns over delays in appointments and employment opportunities. Speaking to journalists in Kumasi on December 8, he commended party members for their critical role in securing the NDC's victory in 2024 general elections, assuring that the party would not neglect those who worked tirelessly for the win.
So the utility tariff is big. I think Daily Guide has it. If you go online as well, TUC is asking for the tariff hikes to be suspended.
Yeah.
But the Energy Ministry says that the tariff hikes are necessary to sustain utilities. So maybe you can bring me the opposition.
Yes, still with the
give
TUC utility tariff conversation. Daily Guide, page 3, minority together with TUC are rejecting the utility tariff hike. And the minority in Parliament has rejected the latest upward adjustment in electricity tariff, describing the cumulative hikes as malicious, unjust and destructive, unquote, to struggling households and businesses. Addressing journalists in Parliament yesterday, the ranking member on the Energy Committee, an MP for Asene Manso Akroso, George Kwame Abuaje, who was flanked by his colleagues, accused the government of worsening the economic hardships facing Ghanaians through what they called reckless and insensitive tariff policy. So they are basically objecting to the
Energy Ministry says the hikes are necessary to sustain utilities. So yesterday, Richmond Roxon, forgive me. Yeah, Richmond Roxon spoke on Eyewitness News. Spokesperson for the Energy Ministry has defended the PRC's recent tariff increase, describing them as necessary to sustain the asset base and capital expenditure of the country's utilities. His comments follows calls by TUC for an immediate suspension of the newly announced tariffs.
Yeah.
Now, speaking on Eyewitness News yesterday, Mr. Roxon acknowledged the concerns raised by Labour regarding the impact of the hikes on workers and the general public. However, he stressed that the adjustment was essential for the long-term viability and development of the utility sector. So we see how that debate runs.
So on the Pandai vacancy, on the seat being declared vacant in Parliament, the Efia MP is saying that's legal, but it's unjust. His name is Isaac Boamanyako, and he says Parliament's decision to notify the Electoral Commission of a vacancy in the Pandai seat is a constitutional requirement, but insists the minority disagrees with the move, describing it as unfair. He was speaking on ChannelOne Newsroom on Monday, December 8, when he argued that Matthew Nyindam, whose election was annulled by the Tamale High Court, won the poll legitimately and remains the preferred choice of the constituency. He expressed confidence that the rerun would affirm that outcome.
Let me now take you to the Daily Guide, page 6. Court dismisses Wuntumi's further document request. And the High Court in Accra yesterday turned down a request by lawyers for embattled Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Siako, aka Chairman Wuntumi, to order the Attorney General to disclose certain documents in his ongoing trial for allegedly facilitating others to mine on his concession without permits. The lawyers had filed an application requesting the Attorney General to furnish them with a deed of assignment regarding the concession, a written agreement between Wuntumi and another person, and documentation to a weapon allegedly confiscated at the mining site by law enforcement officers. And the Apia Kubi, lead counsel for Wuntumi, in moving the application yesterday, argued that the disclosure of these documents will assist the accused and his legal team in preparing a defense. But the application was opposed by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Shremsai, who argued that the documents requested for are not relevant to the case.
Meanwhile, Imani has filed, I'm moving away from the court now.
Yeah.
This is City Newsroom. Imani has filed an RTI request seeking full disclosure on the intended SIM registration. So policy think tank Imani Africa has filed a right to information request demanding full disclosure on government's proposed nationwide SIM registration exercise expected to commence early next year. The request submitted on Monday, December 8th to the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation seeks details of the legal framework, technical design, procurement processes and data protection safeguards underpinning the initiative. Imani said the request was formally received by the ministry's secretary. And so we keep an eye on that development.
Right. Developers flee poorly maintained roads. Adenta housing market suffers. Adenta's housing market is losing buyers and investors as badly deteriorated roads make commuting difficult, damage vehicles and push developers towards better serviced areas. So as Samoa George Opoku writes on the High Street Journal that just a few years ago, Adenta was seen as the East Legon of the suburbs, a peaceful, welcoming space for young people, newly started families and anyone seeking a serene environment. Many rushed to the area eager to secure their first home and build a life away from the city's chaos. Well, today, that promise is under threat. Prospective residents are now hesitant to engage with property managers and agents when Adenta is mentioned, deterred by the suburbs' deteriorating roads. Now, for prospective residents without personal vehicles, commuting is increasingly impractical. Trotro services, the mainstay of public transport, are scarce and unreliable in the area as drivers avoid routes riddled with potholes and flood flooding during the rainy season. Now, even residents who own cars face mounting challenges. One long-term resident lamented, "All my car shocks are faulty now. It takes more than 2,000 cedis to fix." There are videos of a flooded area and a schoolgirl being carried to cross a river.
Housing down.
Yeah,
and then places like commandos and those corner places. Adenta used to be, as they said, a really nice place for workers, but the roads need to improve. Now, this story came a few days ago, but I just want to reiterate it. Ghanaian Times back page, Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Kwele Okulu is directing all MMDAs, that's Metropolitan Municipal and District Assemblies, together with the Greater Accra Regional Police Command to institute enhanced traffic management measures to ensure the free flow of movement across the region throughout the 2025 festive season. According to her, the period was often characterized by heavy traffic, and it was her responsibility as chairperson of the RECSEC to ensure that residents and people who visit the region are able to move safely, efficiently, and without necessary obstruction. Therefore, she gave them a charge to put in place traffic management programs. Of course. Well, this report is by Cecilia Ayada Lagba, so we can keep an eye on it. And then she gives some other instructions
as well.
And this directives follow a meeting with the president, during which all MMDAs were instructed to ensure the immediate desilting of choke drains, clearing of bushy medians, and general improvement in sanitation across their jurisdictions, and also warned about indiscriminate parking, unauthorized street trading, obstruction of pavement will not be tolerated, appealing to commercial drivers, traders, pub and club operators, and event organizers to cooperate with authorities. Basically, we are bringing law back.
But they say a law without enforcement is an advice. So.
And
well,
also
let's see how they implement it.
And also in a related development today, I think the Accra mayor indicated that they are going to ensure that drivers charge the same amount during this festive season. That they should follow through on that.
Some even admitted that. There's just too much law.
Follow through.
I heard from Accra to Kaswa yesterday, Trotro mate was asking for 30 Ghana cedis.
Our problem is enforcement of what we know to be true.
Now let me bring you a headline story that I read earlier. Daily Graphic: a portable lab unveiled for basic schools. Fully owned Ghanaian technology startup has designed a digital version of a science laboratory for upper primary schools in the country. The revolutionary intervention will provide science laboratory experience for young learners to develop their potential and understanding of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM at the basic level. Now, the initiative system, which was launched by President John Dramani Mahama in Accra last Thursday, is currently being piloted in 667 basic public schools across the country. Already, over 450 basic private schools in the country have started using the science lab, while over 500 schools in the United Kingdom through the Royal Academy of Engineering have subscribed and are already using it.
I have a lot of stories globally that are just sad, So BBC is saying that there's Thailand-Cambodia fighting spreading along the border as death toll rises. So this is a report that shows a very forlorn-looking woman on the front page of the paper of their website. Then Sudan Air Force bombing of towns and markets and schools has killed hundreds. So a detailed study highlights the military's aerial campaign and how civilians have been victims of this senseless war in Sudan. Then dozens injured after magnitude 7.5 earthquake strikes northern Japan. Charlie, everywhere people are just killing people. South Africa, mass shooting kills 11. This was a couple of days ago. The good news though is that Australia's social media ban for children has left big tech scrambling, and I really hope we can do the same for Ghana. Of course, families have to take responsibility, but the story says that the Australian government has banned the use of social media for students and people who are below a certain age. And the big technology companies a lot of who make money from young people's usage of social media don't know what to do.
Can same be done in Ghana?
The thing about Ghana is that who will enforce it? You know, we need teachers, parents, and things to take this more seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a story from STC that I wanted to bring to your attention. Nana Kumia was reacting to claims that some lands or property of the STC was sold under his tenure. He's reacted to that. He says such claims are hallucinatory. He was reacting to Nuruddin Hamidan. He was speaking earlier on our network.
Yeah.
He alleged rather that in 2010, the NDC administration sold 4 acres of STC land in Takrady to Melcom and bungalow at Ridge in Accra to Kitech and additional land at STC's headquarters to BCM.
Well,
okay. Finally, let's bring you some politics-related story. Now, the former president John Ejekun Kufuor has spoken. He says MPP's 2024 defeat is related to DDEP and National Cathedral and then PDS. Former President John Ejekun Kufuor.
He was speaking, I think, over the weekend.
Yeah, over the
story
weekend.
came yesterday. I think the insight
is now put in.
My interest in the insight is the front page. Russia's stance for freedom of nations. Hey, insight.
Russia,
Charlie. He said more and more African countries are expressing their desire to live in a global community free from the legacy of the colonial system. And then the way the story is written, Charlie, they said it's the Russia that's initiating the whole freedom thing. Only Russia.
It's away.
With Vladimir
Putin.
Rasputin on the front page.
Yeah, man.
I want to greet Mr. Kwesi this morning. It's a big man.
That was a news review.